What's up, everyone? I'm Scott,
I'm Jason.
and you're listening to Liquid Carnage. Man, I apologize if I sound bad right now. I went to the gym today, and it was a test out in my CrossFit class, and I didn't realize how much of a lung burner it was going to be, and that's what the WOD was called, was a lung burner. But it's been an hour and a half, and I still can't quite catch my breath.
Holy cow.
Yeah,
Man,
man.
now that you're the big 4-0, you gotta start taking that stuff seriously, man.
Yeah, the funny thing is I went and saw the doctor a few weeks back, and he mentioned that I have a slight murmur. And he said if you stand up too fast or you exercise too hard, you start to get a bit lightheaded and a little bit dizzy. Has that happened? I said, yeah, it happens. He goes, I said, I just thought it was because I'm out of shape and dehydrated. He goes, well, that's probably part of it too. But also, you have a heart murmur, so you need to watch that. So, yeah, you turn 40 and shit just starts to break.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. I've been there a long time, so I got a lot of broken things on me, man.
Oh, man, I knew I should have bought the extended warranties. All it comes down to.
I know, we think that we don't want to pay the extra money up front, but boy, it pays off at the end.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, you learn your lesson the hard way.
That's right. That's
Awesome.
right.
How are you, my friend? How was springtime in Phoenix?
It was really nice. We decided to go out this weekend and do some outdoor activities because we're getting to that point where we watch a lot of TV, we binge watch a lot of stuff, but sometimes you got to get up and kind of get some fresh air and stuff. It's kind of like good for the sanity, I believe.
Absolutely.
So we did a lot of walking around in Phoenix because it was beautiful weather. So we did a lot of outdoor activities trying to break the monotony.
Yeah, man, good for you guys. It's that time of year, especially down in Phoenix. You have that window, that spring window where it goes from it's cold because it's 55 degrees to it's really nice, but it's kind of windy and there's spring training, and then it's hot.
Yeah, we're in the nice weather because it's supposed to be like it was in the 80s this weekend, and then it's supposed to be in the high 70s for the rest of this week. So I'm enjoying it. But part of that means though you have to get outside, which means that you can't watch TV or you can't do stuff inside, and that's a struggle sometimes.
It is, yeah, but it's good. I mean, we've been basically cooped up for the better part of actually it has been a year now. It's been pretty much a year since everything started to really shut down around the country, and it's interesting to sit and you look back at like what you did when everything initially happened, and how we all stayed at home or kept to ourselves, and it's interesting that the things that I managed to avoid, I didn't bake any bread. I knew that was a big thing this time last year.
Wow.
Yeah. Right.
Man. Okay. So you did alter stuff.
Yeah, but I watched Cheers. I watched all that on Netflix. But the one thing I managed to avoid, at least for the most part, with the exception of the Tiger King, was the murder podcast and documentaries, the murder mystery ones.
Oh, God, that was like mine for 7 months, man.
Oh, it's a meme.
What is a meme? What is that? What are you talking about?
A meme?
No, I know what a meme is, but what do you mean that
months.
is a meme?
What do you mean it's a mime? It's a meme.
That's what I said. What do you mean it's a meme?
Oh. Well, the Tiger King was a meme for 7 months. It still is in a lot of ways. That was all the rage. I get that.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, because I had made a comment. I've been binge watching true crime for 7 months, and you said, "Oh, that's a meme," and it's like, what?
Oh, no. We probably just heard each other wrong. That's so. But
that's okay, though.
I'm blown away by the amount of true crime that's really on Discovery Plus, Netflix, all these channels, all these streaming services you can get now. Plus, if you listen to podcasts, they're all over the place, and it's nuts. I am blown away how we did not end up in a true crime podcast. But then I listened to some of our podcasts and I realized that we don't have the attention span for that.
Oh gosh, yeah. Well, one of the ones that Noreen listens to is Crime Junkies, and that girl is like insane on the details that she puts into these podcasts. Like I don't know. She used to have she used to have a full-time job and then would do these full analysis. Like she would pull up crime reports and crime photos and interrogation videos and on a bunch of crimes. And every week she would put out these crimes, and the time that she put into it, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have that attention span.
Yeah, it's funny because I get tired of listening to music every so often, so I want to mix it up when I'm in my office or if I'm out trying to exercise, and I go back and forth between podcasts, and I like to listen to just interview podcasts, and I try to like current events, sports, and stuff like that. But I just fell down the rabbit hole with some of these true crime ones, and I tell you what, man, some of them are mind blowing.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, because a lot of the crimes, at least the ones that I've listened to, a lot of the crimes, stranger than fiction kind of deal. You know what I mean? Like you mentioned, Tiger King. You couldn't write that story. You couldn't write that. That had to actually happen for it to be believable.
Yeah, I listened to one late last week. It was suggested to me through you listen to this podcast. You might like this. You might like this podcast. It was called The Last Days of August.
Oh, okay.
And it was about the suicide of an adult film star that killed herself. It was December of 2017.
Okay.
And she had made a comment on Twitter about how she was booked to work with a performer that worked in like gay porn, and so she just made a comment, do your history, do your homework. I don't work with these type of performers, just so the next girl who takes my place knows. And the social media piled on her, and 12 hours later they found her swinging from a tree in a park in Camarillo, California.
Oh,
at 23 years old.
Wow.
And this investigators, they spent a year going through it. Like she was married to a gentleman in his 40s, and they interviewed him, and everyone kept pointing their fingers at him and all these other reasons as to why she might have killed herself. And it's really interesting to see. You're right. It's stranger than fiction, and there's never really a clear-cut answer as to why these things happened. And that's just the tip of the iceberg for those true crime documentaries, because you could spend hours and make countless episodes on them.
Well, and I will say this though, is that some of these shows, they come up with these crimes that happen, and you think, gosh, man, there's a lot of death, or there's a lot of murder, or there's a lot of stuff going on with some of these. But if you watch over a wide range, I've noticed that some of the shows like take the same stories, so they do like a lot of repeating of stories on different shows.
Yeah, but I think that's like most entertainment. It's a lot of the same stories told over and over and over, and the more popular ones just kind of have different variants and different takes.
I will say, though, that there are some things that these shows are very good for.
Mm-hmm.
They're good at giving you hints or telltale signs that you might be a potential murder victim.
Yeah.
Like the absorbently high life insurance policy, just sign the paper.
Yeah.
That's a telltale.
Yeah.
That
you might not want to. All of a sudden buy you a burial plot. That's another good one.
Yeah.
Matching
plots.
Or
another one that's really good is they always want you to take that really weird selfie on the edge of a cliff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, let's take a selfie here.
Yeah,
and then
water skiing up before a hurricane, random things.
Yeah. So I have learned a lot of things about what to be on the lookout for.
Yeah, it's crazy though, because even before we had podcasts or the ability to have true crime documentaries, because Netflix is full of them. We watched one over the weekend called The Murder in the Mormon Church too. It's just insane.
I want to see that one, actually. That one looked interesting.
That one is that one has more. It gave me more questions about the indoctrination into the Mormon Church than anything else. And it all takes place in the mid '80s, so it's all very dated, but very entertaining. Like I can't imagine what the Mormon Church itself would think about it, but I'm intrigued. I was telling a friend of mine who is LDS that, what, after watching this, I kind of want to talk to a missionary, not to convert. Full honesty, I'm not converting, but I just have questions based on what they showed me in this series. I want to know about the special underwear. I want to know about the golden tablets. I want to know about those things. Tell me what I need to know.
Sometimes I watch some of these too, where I think, okay, like the one you're talking about, they're Mormons, right? So they're religious
Yeah.
people. There's no way they would ever commit murder.
Yeah.
No way they would ever commit a crime like that. And yet, invariably, it's always like that. Oh, well, we never saw it coming. This is the nicest person ever. How did they resort to this?
Oh,
So
man.
it goes to show you that you just don't know. I mean, there's no set guarantee of why someone becomes a murderer or why someone doesn't.
Oh yeah, well this is all revolves around rare Mormon documents and their history and buying and selling and who's buying it, how'd they come across it, and double lives. It is so crazy. And you think like, and it's in 1985 Salt Lake City. So in 1985 in Salt Lake City, it was, I'm going to just go on a limb and say it was probably 95% Mormon.
Right.
So to be able to live this kind of life and have this kind of lifestyle in that area is just mind blowing. It's worth the 3 hours just to watch, but there's 3 parts.
So, is it true crime though, or is it like a movie based or a little show?
It's a documentary.
Okay,
it's a documentary. They talk about all the players involved. There's interviews, and they start discussing everything, and it's just nuts.
Yeah. Okay. That does sound kind of interesting. I think I'll definitely pull into that. Why do you think that you've just started watching true crime now?
I don't know if it's I always kind of bounce back and forth. I watched the Ted Bundy one a couple years ago. There's so many heavy things in the world right now. I don't want to concentrate my time on something heavier like that. If I'm going to watch something, I want to watch or listen to something. I want to listen or watch something that's entertaining, something that can make me laugh or make me think. Not going to like, oh fuck yeah, that's how this person killed it, or that person definitely did it. But I think in their own ways, these documentaries and podcasts kind of allow people to be their own detectives,
Well, yeah, and I think for myself, I might be a little bit of a psychologist because I want to know, like I watch these wondering what is the chemistry in someone's mind to move to that level. Like Ted Bundy, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, how that mind worked to be able to justify all the things that he did, and yet for a lot of his life he lived kind of a normal life, involved in the community and did all those things. And it's like, how does it go from being involved in the community to performing those kind of murders? That fascinates me. And I never it never gets old to me. Like when I listen to podcasts, you think, how do these people rationalize what they're doing? I don't understand it. So part of it for me is trying to understand why.
Yeah, they find ways though. It's crazy. Like this Murder at the Mormon Church one. They interviewed one of the guy that it was a friend of the guy the whole thing was focused on, and he just in the middle of one of the interviews he just started getting a nervous twitch. And the guy was kind of weird anyway, but Janice and I just kind of looked just like, that guy's guilty as fuck. It's like, I don't know. He might not be guilty from this documentary, but he's done something. He's got some bodies buried somewhere because he's getting really squirrely real quick.
I watched one that was only like a teaser, but I watched one that was called I Killed My BFF.
Mm-hmm.
And basically it was true stories about best friends who one of them kills the other.
Oh, wow.
And it started off with, and everything is a dramatization. So it's not like a traditional where, someone, this happened. It was, they act out the story. Actors act out the story. And then at the end, you find out, okay, which best friend killed the other best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them, I totally guessed wrong. Like I said, oh my gosh, I never saw that coming.
See,
and that's on Amazon Prime, I think, but it was called I Killed My BFF. And I thought, these people are supposed to be best friends, right? These are like inseparable, can't do anything without them. And one of them was just so disturbing. It was just like, oh my gosh, what kind of person are you? You know what I mean? Like, how can you do that? But it happens.
That's funny. It's human nature that we are an interesting species when you get down to that. We have with so many complex emotions and thoughts. I guess I'm not surprised that we're capable of all these things, but the fact that some people can profit off of it by retelling the story and finding sponsors that want to sponsor the story being told is kind of mind-blowing, really.
Well, and I think it all has to do with how the story is told too.
Yeah.
Like if you ever get a chance to listen to Crime Junkies, that woman, she's amazing. I mean, she's an amazing storyteller. The way that she puts the story together, it's a fascinating listen, and you just kind of, as you're hearing these, she just does a really good job.
Hmm.
I think some of the storytelling, I think, is part of it too. Like how do you do how do you do it well enough to respect the dead, protect the innocence or guilt of the person who's accused, and yet tell a story that's entertaining. Her name is Ashley Flowers, and it's called Crime Junkies. It's an amazing. She does an amazing job telling it. She's done such a good job that it's voted like one of the top podcasts on Apple Podcasts. And she now officially doesn't have a job. That's all she does. She has like 3 or 4 different podcasts going, and her company runs these podcasts. So she must be making buku bucks.
That's cool, man. That's, good for them.
Yeah, no, but like, I think you get back into it. It's like, what is our human nature that we want to tell these stories? Like the one that always used to upset me is watching the like the true crime of Susan Smith, the one who drove her kids into the lake.
Yeah.
I it's like a car wreck, man. I don't want to look at it, but I look at it because it's so shocking that would happen, that a human would do that to other humans, that it's intriguing to see why would someone do that. Try to piece if there's a way that you can figure out why someone did that.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring that up, because there's always that one story. There's a story like that back here in Kingman, actually. God, it was probably 30 years ago now. And it was a lady by the name of Sue Sweetmuller. She just up and disappeared, and we had all the tabloid TV shows come out here looking for her, trying to do investigations for her. It had to be in the early 90s. And everyone is convinced she's buried underneath the cement of the back patio of the house she lived in. But there's all these different takes, and oh God, it was weird. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I think that's the other thing that frightens me when I watch these, is to think that person looks like someone I live right next door to.
Yeah.
So are those people that we're living next to and are living among us? Am I, like, when I talk to my next door neighbor, am I talking to a killer? Am I talking to someone who's capable of doing that?
Yeah, I mean, it's, again, that goes back to human nature. It's like we don't know what we're capable of doing until we're in that position, but we also don't know what the other person we're talking to has as far as capabilities either,
What do you think is the biggest stumbling block for you doing that?
Being a serial killer?
Or being a killer. Maybe not even serial.
A killer? Oh, yeah. Man, you do it, then you got to hide the body. There's a lot of work to it, man. I just don't.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I don't want to go to prison.
Yeah.
But I think that would be the hard part, is disposing of it, clearing the evidence so you don't get caught.
And then you got to keep your story straight too, and that's the hard part.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I watch this Murder at the Mormon Church thing, and they talk about everything they did back in 1985 to try to figure out who this killer was. And you look at it now, like had this happened now, it's like, well, fuck, just subpoena the cell phone records, GPS. That's not hard. I mean, it's everyone's so worried about us being tracked through trackers that the government's trying to sneak in our bodies. As long as we have cell phones, they can see whatever they want to see.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, with the DNA technology that we have now, and they say that like 70 or 80% of the entire United States is under some sort of CCTV or TV, video surveillance.
I believe that.
You can't go anywhere now without being.
I believe that. Yeah, that's right. But no, I believe that. I think it's pretty common nowadays, and you can't blame people for wanting to protect their property and so forth. But it's also helped solve God knows how many crimes and prevent God knows how many crimes.
Or the ones where someone got wrongly accused of a murder, and then 25 years later, DNA proves that they weren't the person.
How pissed would you be if that happened to you?
Oh my gosh, there was a story recently out of Mississippi or one of those. A guy was in prison 24 years, and the judge released him because they said that the prosecutor withheld evidence that would have exonerated him.
Oh, wow.
And all I could think of is, how come there are no laws to punish that person who did that, a prosecutor?
Right?
Why are there no laws to stop someone from doing that?
That should make whoever does that should have to match the prison sentence the other person had to
Maybe
serve.
they should have to lose their bar license.
Oh, I think that goes without
I mean,
saying.
but 25
made
years,
that guy,
obviously, that's a long time.
I don't think so. I think if that guy had to lose 25 years of his life because someone was withholding evidence, fuck that. That guy can go to jail for 25 years
but there's
too.
no crime. There is no law that they can adhere to punish a prosecutor who does something wrong. I mean, let's be honest. We're having a tough time now. When you see a police officer kill someone, we cannot convict that police officer of killing them because that's part of the line of their job. You know what I mean? So I think it's just the system is messed up. But DNA exonerates someone. Now, normally, my understanding is that usually when the person who's wrongly convicted sues the state or whatever, they usually come up with a dollar amount, like, I don't know, $40,000 a year for every year that they've been incarcerated. I'm using that. I don't know what the number is. So I'm sure that the guy who's incarcerated for 25 years is probably going to get a cash settlement. But still, 25 years, imagine losing 15 to 40.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Losing all that time, it'd be like, what the fudge?
Yeah. I mean, 25 years ago, I was 15 years old. If I did something at 15 and lost 25 years of my life and coming out at 40, I have no real concept of the real world, what goes on out here, how things are done. You lose a lot of opportunities for growth and self-development in 25 years like that.
Well, yeah. And let's be honest, Scott, you wouldn't have college. You wouldn't have a work history. So you'd basically be starting out with nothing.
Yeah. And realistically, you don't have to put that you're an ex-con on your job applications at that point, but you have no job history though either. And you have to explain to people that you were wrongly accused and you spent 25 years in prison.
Yeah.
So who's going to hire you at that point?
Yeah. And
so, there is some merit to a lot of these documentaries and a lot of these podcasts too, because a lot of those set out to reverse some of these decisions that find these lawyers that withhold information. And, I guess you could say there's a silver lining in every cloud, but still, it's, I guess it's a double-edged sword.
I've always been fascinated by this, and maybe you have an insight that we have soldiers that go, and as part of their job, they have to kill people, right?
Yeah.
And when they come back, many of them, suffer from the post-traumatic stress disorder, or they suffer from the actions that they took, in war. So how do the people who murder people on a daily basis not deal with that stress? Like, how do they not get it? Do they just put it away and don't think about it? I mean, how do they separate that?
I think it's got to be disassociative. Like, they just have to disassociate from it and just call it good. They just have to block it out.
I guess, man. I don't know. I always think about, people, like, a lot of people have guns in their house so they can defend, themselves against someone breaking in. Yeah. But I gotta think that if it actually came down to where I killed someone, rightly or wrongly, it would mess me up.
Oh, I think it messed all of us up.
I don't know.
I think it would definitely do some damage.
I'm not sure if it does mess everybody up, because these murderers, they commit a murder, they don't freak out, or they go about their business and just do their thing.
Well, the first one's always the hardest.
Yes, that's true. That once you get past 3.
Once you get past the first one, I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah.
I guess maybe at some point, if we ever venture into a true crime podcast show, that's what we can find one that's murdered, been convicted, or whatever, and gotten out, and just ask, like, hey, how did it feel? Why'd you do it? What'd you feel afterward? Just see what they say.
Okay, maybe we can do that. I'm sure that we got some people. And hey, we should try to interview that girl that killed her boyfriend. Jodi Arias.
Which one?
We'll try to get her on the podcast.
Oh yeah, big over like a lead balloon. Isn't she still in jail?
Oh gosh, yeah, she's still in jail. Yeah. They're not. I don't think they're letting her out anytime this lifetime. But
I would say she definitely has the time then.
Yeah, maybe we get her on a. We have to pay for the collect call. That's the only problem.
Well, it depends if it's dead or not. Then we can maybe figure it out. But that could be pretty pricey.
Yeah, you know, I guess it's just one of those things that I think that, you know, most of us have a predisposition not to hurt someone else.
Yeah.
Whether that's through we were educated from very young age to be nice to other kids and accommodating, or maybe we just said, look, you commit a crime, you're going to go to jail. But some people just don't care.
No, I don't think
Like
they do.
they don't even think, you know, they think I want this and I'm willing to kill someone to get it, and I don't care if I get in trouble.
How scary is that though, too, you know? Like that seems pretty, if someone's willing to go to those lengths, God knows what else they're willing to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's the shit that people have to realize. There's a lot of fucked up people in this world.
Well, I'm wondering if all of us have the gene to be a killer. Just most of us have been either conditioned or controlled or made to fear the consequences of that action, so we don't do it.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Maybe all of us have the predisposition to kill, but most of us have either through upbringing or through fear of the police or, you know, value of human life, whatever the reason, we never go into that pool.
That's fair. I mean, there's always that possibility.
Because think about it, when you go into the military, what do? They break you down from where you were to train you to be a soldier. Why? Because they need to break that tendency to value life for the new job of having to take life.
Yeah. You know, it's a process like everything else.
Yeah. And frankly, I mean, they should gather up all the murderers and put them in the army. Here, you want to murder someone? Go murder an enemy. There you go.
Maybe that would cure our military shortage. You never know. Make them strictly foot soldiers.
No kidding. Yeah, I know. Exactly.
Otherwise, that's how you get the Suicide Squad. We've seen how that goes on TV or in the movies.
Do you think that any of these murderers who are in prison or, you know, or any of these podcasts that you watch, do you think that they can change? Like, do you think that they murdered when they were young, but when they got older, that they're not a threat to society?
Everyone's capable of change. It's a matter if they actually want to do it or not, you know?
Yeah. Well, because, you know, when someone gets like 30 to life, you know, after 30 years, they get to go to a parole hearing. I always wonder what they would have to say in a parole hearing or what they'd have to do to say you're no longer a danger to society. Let's let you out.
Well, you got to watch Shawshank Redemption and see what happens with that, though, too.
Well, but, you know, lawyer screwed him.
Yeah, see what old Red does.
Yeah, lawyer screwed him.
Yeah.
There's a great line in that movie where he says, "I'm the only guilty man in Shawshank." You know what I mean? Like everyone else saying, "Oh, the lawyer screwed me. Oh, I didn't do it. Blah blah blah." No, I did it. I killed him.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's an interesting conversation. So, if you watch or listen to any true crime podcast, or you have any recommendations for us, hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, all at Liquid Carnage. If you'd like our EP to help us get on track for maybe even trying out to do a true crime podcast, hit up our EP Tom on Instagram or Twitter at liquid_EP.
Yeah, I think it's very important to say that we are not advocating murder.
No,
in today's episode,
not in the least.
We are not glorifying murder in any way, shape.
But we have questions like everything else. Like given the opportunity to question somebody that's done it, I think we'd have some fair questions.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be somewhat chilling to actually talk to someone who had murdered someone. You know, I get kind of moved by some of these podcasts or shows, not even being a part of it. I couldn't imagine actually sitting across from someone who murdered someone else and talking to them. I think it would be eerie, chilling.
I think it'd be a lot more eerie and chilling if they showed no remorse, you know.
Well, but you know how so many of them say, "Well, I didn't do it. You know, I'm wrongly accused. I didn't do it. I know the evidence shows that I did it, but I didn't do it." You know.
Yeah. All right. I got a bridge in Brooklyn I can sell you too.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, all right. That being said, Jason, take us home, my friend.
Hey, thanks for listening, everyone. Enjoy your true crime podcasts or television shows. I know we will. That was Scott. I am Jason. And as always, if you never know quite what to say, just have yourself some Liquid Carnage.